Over 650 wins in his 39 years of coaching high school basketball, and Little Elm head coach Rusty Segler has just about seen it all. He's coached all over Texas, and his former Liberty Hill team was one of the few teams to beat Shaquille O'Neal in high school. In our North Texas Honda Dealers Inside Story, Pat Doney has more on Segler and how he's leaning on his love for coaching and a special relationship with one of his players during the toughest fight of his life.
3 years ago, Little Elm head coach Rusty Segler stated he was blessed to have the greatest player he had ever coached fall in his lap, R.J. Hampton. Hampton's a top 5 player in the nation for the class of 2020, and he took the court as a freshman. And from then on, started developing a relationship with Segler that was more than just coach and player, it was family.
Me and Coach Segler, we've always had that bond of just, it's kind of like best friends. He tells me everything, I tell him everything. I know what he's thinking during the game, he knows what I'm thinking.
Him and RJ, it's like his work grandfather. Not at work, that's his work grandfather.
Hampton has flourished at Little Elm under his courageous coach, and this year he's averaging 32 points per game and has helped the Lobos to a top 10 ranking in Class 5A. But while RJ's been battling through double teams on the court, Segler's been dealing with his own struggle off it. It was 2.5 years ago that Segler received devastating news while visiting the doctor after experiencing fatigue.
And that day, she tested my stuff and said I had multiple myeloma, which is a rare bone marrow disease. I didn't even have my wife with me, and I had to go in a room and call her and tell her, hey, I'm starting my chemo today.
Segler kept the news from his team for a while, but once he started missing games last year, he finally broke the news.
When it was at its worst and I had to miss games, I think it matured my young men, not just my players. It's a situation where they learned about true life. They learned about this is it, and they all, every time we talk, they always said, I love you, coach, and they proved that.
But it was the coach's star player that was affected the most. RJ had difficulty seeing his mentor in this condition.
When he got the news and when he got really sick going through chemo and all that, you could tell RJ was different. RJ was different, man.
When he told us, he brought us in the office and he told us about it. And I wasn't sure what he meant at first, but I knew it was cancer. But coming from a family that hasn't had a lot of cancer in my family, I didn't really know much about it.
Segler has relied on coaching and being around his players to get him through the tough days. Lately, his chronic fatigue has gotten worse, but he has not missed a game this season.
If I get my rest and I get my medication, I can make it happen for 2 hours in a practice. Same thing in a game. And once they're over, though, the cliff is there and you're taking a step off of it.
RJ has continued to take lessons from his coach every single day, and it's helped make Hampton the well-rounded individual he is today.
I'm lucky because I get to know RJ as a person, and the public sees the stats and they see him play, and that's all they get. I get to be with him as a person, and that's the blessing.
He gives us 120,000% every game and every practice, and just the way he prepares for the game and the way he gets us prepared for the game, it's not easy. I don't think a lot of people could do what he's doing at this rate. You have one of the best teams in the state. You have packed games, not just kind of quiet games. You have packed games where you're under the pressure every game. So just see what he's doing is amazing.
We certainly wish Rusty Segler the best going forward.